Hey everybody, so it's Friday. Welcome to the weekend for most of you. I wanted to just say a quick shout out to everybody. I hope that you've had a great week. I know I have had a good one, despite the fact that I've had too little sleep this week. But I just wanted to kind of reach out to everyone and say I hope that you're having a great day. It is 91 degrees in Maryland, and I'm getting a little sun, it looks like. I feel like my car has become like my second home because I'm spending so much time in it. I'm in it right now, clearly. Seatbelt and everything. And so, some fast food bags I should probably be eating a little better. But, despite the fact that I'm like in the car so much and I'm running around doing so many things, I am still in the mindset of everything is awesome. And I really just want to share that sense with that if I can be in that mindset, you can absolutely be in that mindset as well. There is nothing holding you back except for the way that you are thinking about yourself. So, take a minute and think about the last week. What has happened, and is any of it really that big of a deal? I actually had the opportunity, everybody should have TimeHop, by the way. Number one app in my mind is TimeHop because it allows you to go back and see what's happened over the course of the last years. My oldest post today was from 8 years ago. And to go back and see some of the stuff, it reminded me of what was going on in my life at that time and how I thought everything was so very important. But now, looking back at it, it's really not. Some of the stuff, I'm just looking for context and trying to figure out, like, what was I so upset about? I have no idea. And that's kind of the way that life works, right? In the moment, we get so super upset, and it means everything, but in hindsight, it really wasn't that important. So, I think a great thing to do on a Friday is to look back over the course of the last week and say, what happened this week? And was it as important as I thought it was in the context of my entire life? You get 52 weeks a year, and you get, if you're lucky, 80 years. And a lot of stuff will happen on a day-to-day basis. It's easy to get bogged down in a lot of those details about what has happened and, oh my God, this is the most important thing. But then a year later, 2 years later, maybe sometimes even a month later, it doesn't seem like it's that big a deal. And I think that's the mindset that we should really have, is like look back and say, how important is this going to be in the grand scheme? So take a look at your last week and say, what happened this week, and is it going to matter to me a year from now? Is it going to matter to me 6 months from now? How about a month from now? How about next week? If you're sitting here next Friday, will everything that happened this past week really matter that much? And of course, we always are focusing on twos, right? The last 2, 2, 2, and 2, 2, 2 into the future. So over the last 48 hours, especially, take a focus. What has happened, and is it going to be that important in the grand scheme? I've always told people you have to keep people around you that keep you happy. And if the answer to that question is there is someone in my life who is not supporting me, who is not moving me forward, and that has really shown itself in the last 48 hours. I think that you should think about the next 2 days, the next 48 hours in the future, and say, hey, do I need to have this person in my life? I've had a lot of that happen over the past year where I've had to cut people out because they weren't moving me forward. And if you're not moving me forward, you're holding me back. It's really that simple. So Friday is a great day. I said Thursday is a perfect Tuesday, but for most of us, Friday means the weekend, which means that you get 2 days completely to yourself. So it is a perfect time to think about those goals that we set yesterday on Thursday, Tuesday, and look forward to the next 2 days and say, what can I be doing when I have 2 entire days for myself to set my own goals? So sit down and think, where do I want to be in 2 years? What do I want to have accomplished in 2 years? What do I want my life to look like in 2 years? But as I always tell you, there's too many, that's too big of a goal. And you'll never accomplish it if you think of it in that grand a scheme. So go ahead and think, what can I do in 2 months that will get me there in 2 years? And what can I do in the next 2 days? You get 2 days for yourself over this weekend. What can you do to set up the 2 months and the 2 years goals that you have for yourself? And then of course, the hope is that over the course of time, you start thinking about this and saying, hey, listen, I thought about the last week and all that stuff was not so important in the grand scheme. Eventually, you'll be able to think about that in the moment. Like, hey, while this is happening, I can tell myself it's not going to be that important. I need to just let this go. And that in and of itself is the heart of the Tao of letting go. It's living in the moment and knowing whether or not this is going to have a big impact on the future. And is this going to play into my 2-day, 2-month, 2-year goals? So have that mentality. Enjoy the weekend. It's supposed to be beautiful weather. If you're in the mid-shore, come out to Summerfest. I'll be there most of the day on Saturday, so you can always hit me up at Robert N. Cheek at all your social networks, and you'll be able to find me, and I'll be out and about there in Denton on Saturday. And of course, for the Dirty Shore Underground podcast, I'll be at the wrestling event that's at the Denton Firehouse on Saturday night, so make sure you join me for all of that. And otherwise, I got to head home and get some work done. I'm going to post some videos for my Patreon page. I'm going to post some video updates for my email list. You can sign up for all of those. RobertNCheek.com for the email list and Patriot.com/RobertNCheek for the Patreon page if you want to see those posts. So, everybody enjoy your weekend. Try to get out and do something for yourself this weekend, but take a little time to think about our goals for the next little bit and for what we have coming forward, okay? So, if you have any question, you can always reach out to me. Make sure you're following me at Robert N. Cheek on our social networks. Have a great weekend, everybody. And of course, the number one thing to remember, live now. You only get one trip around this universe. You only get one life to live. So make sure you make it count, all right? Have a great weekend, everybody.